What's going on, Group Coach Nation? So on my way to podcast movement. So great time to just stop for a second and talk through what do you do at these events? So if you're not familiar with podcast movement, then you're probably not a podcaster. If you're a podcaster, podcast movement is this enormous place where lots of podcasters hang out. I'm typically more of a podcast guest than a host, and I am not there because I'm a podcaster. So let's talk about profitable collaboration here in a second. Let me help you understand how to do these events and how to do events profitably. Because when it comes to doing any kind of group coaching or mastermind work, you've already figured out time is your most important asset. So you want to make sure you're not just there wasting your time. Okay, so podcast movement. If you're into podcasting or trying to get your head around it, go attend online. It's in Dallas. Go do your thing. Have fun. If you're there already, reach out. Send me a message wherever you're finding this. Love to connect. Love to say hi. I'll be there Tuesday through Friday of this week. So August 23rd through whatever the Friday is of this week. Let's talk about how to make these kinds of events or other even online events profitable. Now, if you're just learning about podcasting and you want to get your head around the speakers and what's going on and what the trends are, attending online makes sense. But if you're just learning and you're not going to do anything with it, don't attend online and don't go. The only reason to spend your time learning about these kind of things is if you're actually going to do something with it. And that is so important. Learn to take action. For all of us, no matter what level we are on our entrepreneurial journey, we love learning and we love seeing the new thing, but that's often a distraction. So make sure you're super careful about that. All right, let's talk about the event itself. When I go to in-person events like Podcast Movement, I'm not there with a booth for Group Coach Nation. Nope. Not there to hand out business cards. I literally don't have a business card with me, and I don't even have any business cards printed with my name on them. Here's what I do. I'm there for relationships, and that's so the way it works. We really all have to be super hyper focused on being there for relationships. Wherever you show up, relationships matter. If you think about it, having a booth or handing out business cards is about relationships. When I go to a conference like this, I'll probably sit into a handful of these sessions because they're friends of mine who are speaking or whatever. But otherwise, I wouldn't be in a session. The sessions are for people who are there to learn. And I love to learn like you do. But when I go to an event like this, I'm really there for the relationships. So before the event, we're looking through to see who should we build a relationship with this event. We're making connections to other friends in the community who are speaking or engaging in that community that we're going to visit. We're looking at Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever in our community, who's going there, what are they buzzing about? Because I want to make sure we're there for relationships. Not a big fan of sitting behind a booth. I'm a huge fan of getting out there and making friends. That's a big, big deal. I also always stay in the convention center or in the hotel where the event is located. I know. Sometimes we all get cheap. We all have those moments where oh, it's so much cheaper, just right next door. No, stay in the event location. You are there for relationships. Make it where it's so easy for you to be present, to be eating in that restaurant, drinking at that bar, hanging out in that lobby, working in that workspace. Be present. Don't make it a hassle to get back and forth and miss those really important times when you need to be there. The last thing I want to say about this, when you go to events like this, go with a complete agenda, okay? So I'm not just saying I want to make relationships with the key people. I have goals for why I'm there. I'm there to make relationships deeper with several people, to meet several new people. I have a list. My team and I already have a list of what this is going to look like. And we already have goals of where we want these relationships to go. Because some of these people could potentially be clients of Group Coach Nation. Some of them are going to be great key influencers for Group Coach Nation. Some of them have already been an amazing influence on me. And my goal is to be there and return the favor and offer, how can we help you and your audience? There's so many opportunities for us to give and receive in communities like this. And don't be shy about that. It's okay to go to an event like this wanting to get. It's okay to go wanting to give. And I think an honest balance is just pretty straightforward. I'm not a person who's oh, I'm just going to add value. Wherever I can go and add value, I get it. But let's be honest. We're there to add value sometimes so we can get something back in return. There's nothing wrong with that. Go with a clear agenda of what you're hoping will happen for you and your business while you're giving and receiving. That's the way the world works. All right. We're always giving and we're always receiving. to our environment, to our friends, to our family, to our colleagues, to our coworkers. Always a give and receive thing. That's just how things go. So be intentional and have a plan around how those things are going to go. Now, I'm just talking about podcast movement in this case because that's the event I'm going to right now. But more importantly, think through this stuff like through any event you're going to. If you're on a podcast, hosting or guesting, if you're on Zoom calls with people, if you're leading a group coaching or one-on-one program, like wherever you are, whatever you're doing today, think about what is the give and take of this relationship and how can both parties that are getting together on this relationship opportunity, for me, Podmatch or podcast movement today, and could be a podcast tomorrow. What is that thing supposed to look like? How can I leave that relationship where they are better off having spent 5 minutes or 5 hours with me? And how can I make sure that I leave that relationship where I'm better off having spent 5 minutes or 5 hours with that person? I think that's super important for just authentic, straightforward community building opportunities. And again, not a big fan of showing up to networking events. I'm really not. It's just not my jam. I'm not a super outgoing person. I like my down and my quiet time. But I do know the value of relationships. And I do know the value of face-to-face opportunities. And for so long now, we've not been able to do that. And it's so great to be back doing that. So do that in a way it's safe and right for you, but spend time with humans and know why you're there. That's how to make profitable connections and relationships happen at events like podcast movement in this case. Know why you're there. Again, quick rehash. I don't carry business cards. Let me just kind of flesh that out real quick why I don't. I don't carry business cards because I want to be able to control the outcome of that relationship. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a control freak. I'm saying that because I'm there very intentionally. And a lot of people who are, in networking events, they're handing out business cards. They're, oh my gosh, it's so great to meet you. Here, have one of my cards. We all know most of those cards go in the trash can. All right. I don't even collect the goodie bags. I never end up with like the swag bag. When I walk into this event, I won't even pick up the t-shirt. I am there for relationships. And when I meet somebody that I want to connect with, I ask for their card or I ask for their number or whatever they want to use to connect. And I just make that connection happen. Then I pass it off to a team member, or I might reach out to that person directly. But I want to make sure that if we're going to make a connection, I'm the one in charge of that connection, because then I can schedule it appropriately and I can make sure that I'm not handing out a business card where all of a sudden I'm going to get on everybody's email list and everybody's, spam shout out. I don't want to do that. I want to be in control of what comes into my world and my team's world. And I want to be in control of how we interact the next stage, the next thing with that relationship, kind of where that goes. So I'll make connections. Simple example. I'll make a connection with somebody who leads another audience. We'll realize, oh my gosh, our audiences could benefit from learning from each other. Great. I'll grab their contact info. I'll make the initial contact from my phone on whatever social platform or text or whatever. And then I'll make sure that we have next steps. Then I just simply step aside for just a second and I text a team member or myself a quick voice note, or like just speaking it into Siri and just saying, here's who I met, here's what's happening, here's our game plan going forward. We just schedule something 3 weeks from now, a month from now, whatever, to have a conversation. That intentionality creates a lot of momentum. It gets things done, and it only gets the right things done and kind of cuts through the lower tier stuff that you really shouldn't be spending your time on. All right. Not saying people are not worth spending your time on, but sometimes those people are not the right fit. And sometimes those people are the right fit. And our goal is to, as leaders, to sort out which of these folks are going to make the most impact, where I can have the biggest impact for good and they can have the biggest impact on me for good. When that's a match, everybody wins. Hope that helps. For those of you going to be in podcast movement, send something, like say something, DM me, whatever. My team will make sure we get that connected, because we'd love to say hey and fist bump, elbow bump, shake hands, whatever we're allowed to do. And we'll talk soon. But don't be asking for a business card, because I don't have one. All right. Do work, get results, folks. As always, the reason I break these things down is because I want you doing the right work to get the right results. I know today's conversation wasn't about group coaching or mastermind building or whatever, but this stuff matters because this stuff is what connects you to other cool people, other cool audiences. All right. All the best to everyone. You guys keep crushing it, rock and roll, and do your thing. Keep being super awesome heroes to your markets, because the more you're out there sharing your expertise, like the stuff that's in your head right now that you're succeeding at, is the stuff that people want to know about. Teach them, help them grow. Don't just do that in a one-on-one setting. Learn how to do it in a group so you can get your life back, so they can change faster in group settings. and figure it out. All right. Reach out with your questions as always. It's so good to see everybody. What's up, Dr. Greg? Dude, so great to see you, man. Okay. Y'all have a great one. Be awesome. Stay awesome. We'll talk soon. Bye, guys.